Good afternoon and welcome to Interfaith Insights. Now today we are talking about care. How do we care for ourselves? Do we have that work-life balance? I'm really interested today to have some fantastic guests who can help us to explore that. We have Janine Rennie, who's the Chief Executive of Wellbeing Scotland, who's going to be doing a wonderful presentation, giving us some tips. We also have Adrian Harris from the Edinburgh Jewish Cultural.
We just had to say to staff, look, you've got to put your health and well-being first. That is absolute priority. And it's just about, I think, empowering people to make those choices, because it's just not a healthy way to live. And I think, you just have to accept that it's a different set of circumstances now, and you need to treat people in a different way to acknowledge those circumstances.
That's a really interesting point, Adrian, where a lot of people who did have childcare responsibilities were finding that they were moving their work time to first thing in the morning or last thing at night. So they were literally never getting a break. So they would, be having caring responsibilities all day, including homeschooling, and then having to catch up on all their work out with, and just literally never stopping.
Friends group needs to be smaller, so it's more quality than quantity, because you may have 15, 20 people that you think you're friends, but are they really friends? And I think we always need to kind of filter that, because it means you can talk to them and really they know you and you know them on a very, very deep level.
Or we've all had probably at some point that so-called friend who sucks the life right out of you and always manages to tell you all the things that you do wrong rather than all the things that you do right.
Men in this country are very sarcastic, and sometimes amongst your peer group, that's the way they interact sometimes, especially, your certain groups, they like to put each other down. And so I guess the point where, where is that line? Where does it stop? And where does it, you say, like, that's actually, you've crossed the line there, that's upsetting to me, or, now is the time where I need actually some support and not being put down. So, I don't know where that comes from. I don't know if that's part of our culture or what.
We don't want to talk about emotions a lot of the time, and sarcasm is a defence mechanism, but it's very, very important that you may be the person that day that just tips somebody over the edge, or be the last part in their load that's too heavy. So it's really important that people remember how we speak to each other, and that sarcasm we might think is funny, but it could be the thing that's really hurtful to somebody.
Adrian, I was wondering if you might first tell us about growing up in a Jewish family in London and how that journey of faith brought you to Edinburgh years later.
The environment, if you like, in which I was brought up just seemed naturally Jewish. At my school, as I say, which was just a state school. So in a way, it was a very easy environment in which to be Jewish, I suppose. I went to university in Leeds. That was, if you like, the beginning of a journey for me away from just a very normal, natural Jewish environment. I am not an observant Jew, but I have always identified myself as Jewish. And in certain respects, particularly after I left London, I've always found it difficult to find ways of expressing that Jewish identity. If I chose not to do it through the observance of the faith, then how do I do it? When I started to get involved in the idea of a Jewish Cultural Centre for Edinburgh, that seemed to me to be the answer to that question for me.
So how do you think, Adrian, that a Jewish Cultural Centre building venue in Edinburgh could positively impact what we've been talking about today?
I think that culture, in the broadest sense of that word, has a really important role to play in that work-life balance. We've talked about having fun, and I think somebody once said that having fun is a really serious business. Part of culture is entertainment, is having fun. Also, I think we also have to acknowledge that at the moment that culture is having a really hard time, because I think when culture works best, it's a shared experience. It's an activity where we come together, and either we come together to participate like in a choir. We come together for a shared experience at a performance or a concert. And at the moment, it's just not possible to do that. And so that experience is being mediated through our screens. Culture is important. Its importance to the Jewish community. This whole thing of certain groups in society generating fear around the other. The best way of dispelling and challenging that fear was not by hiding away, but by actually saying, here we are, this is who we are, this is what we do, come and share, come and engage, you come and tell us what you're about.
Thank you everyone for joining us. As always, have a great week and stay safe everyone. Thank you.